Hey guys, Danny here with Limitless Trading Group. I want to do a quick trade recap. This is a trade that I made overnight. I picked this one up yesterday on Tuesday, and I swung it overnight for 60% profit. So I just sort of want to explain what it was that I saw and the technicals based on it. So this is one that I actually mentioned in my live stream for the watch list this week. About 2 weeks ago, Apple had earnings, and we had this gap up, and now we've seen this consolidation. And if you bring this down to a smaller time frame, you can see that we have this nice symmetrical triangle or a bull pennant here, and we've been consolidating between 169 and about 171. So I picked this one up at the end of the day yesterday. I was trading the March 1st 175 call. I usually like to go 1 to 2 strikes out the money. This gives you a nice delta and gamma push as it goes closer to in the money, and I think that these can be the most profitable trades, especially on swings too, keeping it 1 to 2 strikes out the money. So my entry was here on this 15-minute candle where we broke over this downtrend. You can see at the end of the day it had this nice ramp up, and this would have been yesterday on Tuesday. So we had this nice ramp up here. I took my entry, and we even started to break over this resistance here. I had this resistance at about 171.25, and at the end of the day we sort of pulled back a bit, but either way we never really closed under this downtrend line, which was the breakout I was playing. So I held this one overnight, and right at it open we saw this strong buying pressure. And if we bring this back to the hourly, you can see the candle that we put in. So we got right to the end of this pennant, and we broke straight up over it. And yeah, we had this really strong push. So the way that I was working on my exit, since we broke over this previous pivot high, that was sort of the first area I was looking at to see if we could break over, and we had no trouble there. So we broke over that pivot high. And then if we bring this down to the 5-minute, I was pretty much just following this trend line. I wanted to make sure that while we had this buying pressure, we weren't going to be breaking below it. And these contracts actually hit highs, I believe, of about 85%. But I saw this consolidation, so I wanted to continue to hold, see if we could maybe go sideways a little bit, break back up towards that high a day. But I actually ended up taking my exit here when we were started to break down, and the SPY was also having some selling pressure at the same time. So I wanted to just make sure that I locked in the profit, and especially on an overnight, taking anything over 50%, 60% on a swing is fantastic, and that's what we look for. And if you look what happened after the exit, we dipped under that trend. We went sideways, and we just continued to sell off. And so when you're trading these options that are 5 days, 8 days, 10 days away from expiration, and they're starting to get like the consolidation is really taking a toll as theta is just sort of ticking away at your premium, it's good to just lock these in, especially into this type of strength. When we have that much volume and pressure pushing us up into the day, it's really good to have a trailing stop. Once I hit about 70% profit, I think it was around right around here. So I put my stop at 40%. That way I was for sure, no matter what happened, I was for sure to lock in 40%. And that really takes off a lot of stress from the trade. So yeah, this is a setup I look for often. These gap ups off earnings. Look for this consolidation pattern. And this one is really a double whammy. It was because we had this pennant, but we also had this tight range consolidation for a few days. So that's a perfect setup, and especially on the overnight, to be able to lock in 60%, it's fantastic. That's absolutely what I'm looking for on any of my overnights. But yeah, and this one was also called out in chat too. I mentioned my entry, and I called out my exit. So if you guys ever want to be a part of that, be sure to join the chat, and you can see these entries and exits live time, and you can ride these trades with me.